Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. So because you can program something with AI doesn't mean that it's going to affect your productivity in a positive way. There's lots of rabbit holes. So be careful. And then the second thing is just say yes. Just say yes to some new things. That's a really big thing because really cool things happen when you say yes. So say yes. Say it a little bit more. See what happens. It's pretty cool.
Hey, everybody, welcome to my show. My name is Tiffany, and this is Unveiling Journeys. I have an amazing guest for you today. I'm so excited, but I just want to talk for 1 second about myself. Oh my goodness, I love the show. I love hanging out with cool people. I love meeting neat new people. And more importantly, I love hearing their stories. I love like dragging out of them, like, what makes you sick and why do you do what you do? But also, holy crap, I love what you're doing. Can I introduce you to some people that I know? And if I can get them on my calendar to like pull that out of them for a half hour, I find myself also asking, wait a second, amazing people. Is there anybody that you know that I need to know? And I'm giving the audience permission right now to ask people that because you're allowed to ask for a referral. And that's how the world goes round and round, especially here in North America. We should just do business with all the people that we know and trust. Anyway, with that, I want to introduce you to my guest. Through Awesomely, the power of referrals is how we met. And I get to share his story today. So with that, welcome, Sean. Tell everybody who you are and what you're up to right now.
Well, thanks very much, Tiffany. Super excited to be here. So my name's Sean Hiebert. I own and I'm one of the owners of Stillwater IT Solutions. I started it myself. I'm the founder and CEO, and I brought on my best friend, and he became my best friend and is running our growth and development, Paul Tompkinson. So really excited about that. We're a managed IT provider and have been for in one way, shape, or form for 22 years, different companies and all the way, but Stillwater is now where it's at because it really represents calmness. And that's really what we try to bring to our clients.
I love that. Now, being able to be someone's managed service provider, this means what kind of services are you providing for them? For my listeners that don't know what that means.
Well, really, and there's kind of a myriad of different services that people will do within the managed services world. Some are managed security service providers. We're really focused primarily on the foundational stuff right from the ground up. So all of the infrastructure we do through a couple of partners that we've had, right through to that end user maintenance, AI governance, data backup. And it's so important. There's so many. Oh, there goes my camera. There you are.
But
And it really is. It makes a big difference. When you mentioned it before, know, like, and trust. That is our first criteria. If we bring on a client, then we want to make sure that we like them as much as we hope they like us.
yes.
And really, when that relationship kind of comes about, and you're able to develop that, there's just this natural flow to things, and we don't have to be the IT guys anymore. Now we're like, oh yeah, hey, call the team at Stillwater; they'll take care of you. And that's really what we try to do as much as possible.
That's so neat. And to think that you guys have like this ability to take it from start all the way to keeping up with them and growing with their company. That's amazing because I always think, oh, like the one single local IT guy at a company. But if people can't afford that, or heck, they need something bigger and beefier, they could hire you guys out as like a one size fits all for their company. So that's neat. Now, I want to hear your whole story. Tell me, where did this all come from? Where are you from? Did you go to school for this? Like, what did you think you were going to be doing growing up? All of the above.
Yeah. How did I didn't know that I loved computers as much. I actually thought it was drafting, so I took drafting in the eighth grade. I was involved with computers peripherally when they kind of came out, but not from a programming standpoint. I did the Hello World and the whole thing, and I'm like, well, I'm not a programmer. And then I went into customer service. I was in hospitality for years, in the hotel industry and Whistler and the Vancouver area, and then went from there to well, why not? It's a good idea because I'm getting burnout in the hospitality industry, which people do after a period of time. You can only smile, fake smile so much. And my
Yeah.
smile is genuine, but it does have
Yeah,
they have
hospitality's like, deep and wide. Tell me a little bit more about when you're in hospitality, like, because you're doing that for so long. I know it's
Yeah,
like,
we did
it's a
that
part of your
for
story. I know we got to tell it.
yeah, you bet. Well, I did that for 8 years and I love I really was passionate. In fact, my then girlfriend, now wife, Erica, had said, we were actually on a bit of a break. And she said, You need to," and literally, I now that I know, and I figured this out a little while later, it was a way for me to get, or to for her to get me off her back, because I was like, "No, no, no, we really need to be together." And she goes, "You need to be in the hotel industry." And she goes, "I'm going to school for it. You should probably go to school for that." And it basically is a way to get me off her back and just out of her hair. So I did that and went, "Actually, I kind of like this. Like, maybe she's got something there." So after that, I went, "Well, you kind of get away, like when you're 20, you're like, I think I'm going to get myself out of this environment where I don't feel I'm going to thrive." You get the friends that really weren't going anywhere. Some were, some weren't. The ones that were usually left that friend group. So that kind of gave me a little, it reminded me of what my old landlord said, is you're going to be the average of the people you hang around with. And that stuck with me.
Yeah.
And I went, I'm going to go be around Australians in Whistler after my, that. So because there's a lot of Australians in Whistler. And I did that for a couple of years in Whistler. Funny story is my wife ended up moving up and we just started our relationship all over again. After there's only so many people that can hear me say, I don't want to be with, I don't want to be around you anymore, Sean, because all you do is you talk about your ex. So tell her to get in, get out, get it done. I'm done. So I gave her the boot, so to speak, for a second, and I went, okay, if you can't commit, then forget it. And 3 weeks later, she moved up, and
What about that?
we kind of started our relationship kind of anew. And uh, 3.5 year or 3 years later, we got married
Oh,
back down in the Vancouver area, and worked in hotels there at the Radisson for a while. I knew it was my time to get out when somebody says, "Hey, we're coming up," and pardon my awful Southern accent, but "Hey, we're coming up to Whistler in July, and we want to know if we should take our parkas." And when you say yes to that question, it's time for you to start leaving that industry. The
really?
Yeah, and I'm not that guy, but I had a little bit of fun with them. I'm like, no, they're going to pack an extra suitcase with these because they didn't do their own research. So this was
You're
the
messing with
90s.
them
We didn't
now.
really have Google at that point. All we had was like Lycos and Excite and all these other things. So back to the hotel industry. I was in Vancouver for a little while, or the Richmond area, which is just south of Vancouver. And in reservations, which is where I decided to go after being on the front desk for a while, they limited our access to the internet. And because they didn't want us wasting time in the back office. It makes total sense. Well, I didn't think that I was not to be trusted. So to illustrate that, I hacked the computer and got us all access to the internet. And just those little things made me think, maybe there's something to this. But I wasn't done yet. So I went from there. When I left the hotel industry, I had the opportunity to open a telemarketing call center with my cousin. And
Really?
I went, telemarketing, because that's something I've always hated to do. Why not start a business doing it? I've never liked cold calling. I've never been good at it. No, I'm sensitive, so really knows they hurt.
They do.
Yeah.
Me
And I
too. I don't
went,
want a cold call.
yeah, right. And I went, but I'm going to own a telemarketing call center because then we can be the owners and not the doers. Well, little did I know, we of course had to demonstrate all this to the staff. So I got better at it. I was never great, but I wasn't bad. I'll give it that. That happened. That happened because it was really an event. Wasn't really a career at all. About 6 months. And after losing 20 grand, I went, well, that's probably not the business for me. And I went and managed a gym for a while
There you go.
because I didn't really know what I was going to do. And then I did that for a couple of years. They changed the management style. And then I was talking to my, at that point, friend and business, kind of business life coach. Um, that was the wife of the chiropractor that my gym did work for.
Nice.
And she went, well, I asked her, I said, Wendy, what do I have to do here to find my place in life? I didn't know where I landed, what I was going to do. Since the management was changing, I was no longer going to be the GM of that location, but they wanted me to come on as salesperson. And I felt that that was a serious demotion and kind of a slap in the face. So I went, I'm going to go because I don't think that you're going to make it. I don't think that your business model is really going to do it. But best of luck. 2 years later, they shut down. And by then, I was out of there. And after the conversation with the business coach, Wendy, she said, well, what do you like to do, Sean? And I said, well, I
Sure.
love people and I love what computers can do. I didn't love computers. I wasn't a programmer, but I loved what they were changing the world into at that point. Because this was 90, no, it was 2000, 2004, because my daughter was born
Oh,
then.
yeah.
And when she went, well, just put it out to the universe. She wasn't really, she was more of a spiritual person than God fearing. And she just went, I'm gonna give him some advice that he can walk away with and just noodle it, and it'll drive him crazy. And it did for about a week, and then without talking to my friend about it, who owned an IT company, um, he came up to me and he says, "Look, we're growing, and I like somebody with your skill set, your ability to talk to people. It sounds like you kind of know what you're doing, but you haven't had that structure to work with." And I said, "Yeah, you're right there." And he goes, "Well, I'll tell you what, I can only give you a portion of what you bring in, but let's I want you in my company." And completely out of my comfort zone, made all sorts of what would be now silly mistakes. But I really had fun with it because there was no 2 days that were the same, no 2 hours that were the same in any
Oh,
day. Which was
nice.
I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
ADHD is a wonderful tool and it needs to be managed. So that's a great
100%.
thing to have an ever changing world that you never have to be bored in. And that, uh, God, fast forward that I worked for him for 8 years, 8 or 9 years, and then went from there, led the IT division, or so to speak, was developing the IT division of a copier company,
Wow.
which was very interesting. Um, I'm glad that I left, but it took me 2.5 years to do so. And it was at that point where I'm like, you know what? I've amassed a little bit of knowledge. So I think I can do it better. Like every other entrepreneur out there going, you know what? Screw you, boss. I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. And then at that point, Radius Technologies was born. And there was an opportunity at that point. Somebody that was approached by my boss at the copier company said it's probably not a good idea to get into business with him because he had some substance abuse issues and so forth, which is unfortunate. But he goes, I don't really want to bet my retirement on somebody that I can't fully trust. So the most humbling thing that I've ever been told was, I want you to buy my company. And when I said, I don't have enough money to buy your company, like I don't have the credit, I don't have the available funds. He goes, don't worry, I'll finance it. And I
Oh,
went,
that's amazing.
for 3 weeks. I've known this man for 3 weeks. We've
Wow.
had 10 conversations in that. And he said, that Richard Gibbs is his name, and CR Technology Solutions was the company I bought. And it came with staff and it came with everything that I had no idea how to do. So getting out of that comfort zone, learning how to build a company, learning what it was to manage staff, and then going from that to, we lost a client because of really one interaction and some nepotism within the other company. There was a relationship that a brand new operations manager at a construction company, our very first one as Radius, our very first organic new client, um, had a new manager on site, and they had a relationship with another IT company. And because of this interaction, that he just went, you know what, I'm going to go with them. So that was our first loss. And I went, you know what, I want to find out what he's doing right to be better, because I knew what I didn't know, and that was, I guess, what was I, 41 around then, and 53 now, yeah, 41 or so. And I started to understand that there were lots of things that I didn't yet know, and I just humbled myself to go, I'm going to have a conversation. So I reached out to the owner and I said, hey, would you, like, I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys will be a better fit and they'll be happy with you. I really want the West. We'll make sure that the transition goes very smooth. That said, I'd love to buy you a beer and talk about what you are doing differently and better than me so I can learn and then actually be more of a competition to you, to be honest with you. If you're okay with that, he goes, I'd love to meet with you. So we went out, had a beer. He shared his story. And then during that conversation, he says, Sean, I think that acquisition's possibly on the table. And I said, no, it's not. Where Radius is growing, I'm still paying off a debt to the owner that I've got. So I'm like, no. 4 months later, after a conversation with my wife, many conversations about this, we finally said, we might regret doing it, but we'll definitely regret not trying. And we went, okay, let's give it a go. Well, that lasted 1 year. And whether this makes it to the podcast or not, don't get into business with narcissists. I'm just going to
Ooh,
say that. Yeah.
yeah.
Because they're not interested in your best interest. So I think that's, you want to make sure that the beast, which is the company, grows that can benefit everybody, including the owner. There's a difference when you are in with a narcissist. So that lasted 1 year. I felt like I was trapped. And one day I just went, whether I'm trapped or not, that's it. So I took a year off after leaving there to fulfill my agreement. I went, I don't want to complicate things with just messy. I don't do messy. I don't do
Mhm.
drama, do messy. Yet it had been a really dramatic 10 years. So um, with that year off, I decided I went to counseling. I'm like, I need to find out why I would get into business twice in a row with people that didn't they weren't really interested in my best interest. And I have a family at that point. My daughter's, what was she? 10 years old, 11 years old. We're trying to go on trips and do stuff together. And there was all sorts of issues with getting paid and all that stuff. So I went, no, I just
Yeah.
don't want to be in business with those types of people anymore.
Right.
And so after through that counseling, uh, quite honestly, as things started to quite literally calm down in my life, even though I'm not making near what I was making before, I started to really understand what happiness was and what I really loved and what I wanted to bring to everybody. And that's that relationship, that simple solutions that companies and people in those companies can understand. And so Stillwater was born. Honestly, the company was born a little bit before my agreement ended, but I just was cautiously building it, and then went, okay, now it's time. And
Yeah.
a lot of other people didn't want to do business with narcissists either. So because of those relationships,
Yeah.
uh, I'd built over the last at that point 15 years, almost all of those clients came on board and said, we actually want to come onto your company. And then Stillwater was in rapid growth for a while. Again, me not knowing what the heck I was doing, but really had a better idea.
Yeah.
And then I'm starting to build. And then I guess it was about a year, a little bit more than a year in, I met, and I'm going to try and consolidate the story as best I can, but I'm terrible at it. Paul is much better at telling a story than I am. But with my daughter and her boyfriend were in two different houses. It was COVID, and we even though that we brought them into our cohort or bubble or whatever it was, later on at this point they were in separate houses. It was early COVID, nobody could talk to anybody.
Yeah.
And they went, well, I'm really frustrated, Dad, because our internet's fine, but his is terrible. And she goes, I really want to talk to my boyfriend, and she goes, this is the only way I can do it. Is there anything you can do? I'm like, well, ours is fine, so not really. And not too long after she asked me that, a telecom guy came to the door, the internet provider came to the door and did a door knock. And you never know who you're going to know on those door knocks, who you're going to meet. He said, would you upgrade your internet and change providers? And I went, well, I don't ever want to be with TELUS because of a customer service issue that I've had many times when I call them. I don't want to call and be frustrated. And somehow he convinced me to say yes. And after he was leaving, he says, do you know of anybody that could benefit from this. And a light bulb went on. I'm like, I could fix two problems with one and it doesn't cost me a thing. This is great. So I said, yes, could you please call my daughter's boyfriend's mom and get their internet upgraded? I'll tell her, look, you're just going to spend another $40. I'll give you the $40. Let's just please like get this done. She goes, okay. A couple of weeks later, Telus comes over. The kids are happier. Everything's great. A few months go by. They're still talking. Everything's fine. And we're at his football game, my daughter's boyfriend's football game. And the mom comes over to me and she says, Sean, I want to thank you for my boyfriend. And I went, I don't, I purposely do not introduce people because I don't want to be the catalyst of anything. I don't, not, it's too risky. It's too risky. So, uh, and then she told me the story that the installer is now her boyfriend.
No way.
From
What?
the service provider. And and she goes, yeah, and they've got a great story, and I will let Paul do it. If I'd love you to meet for him, he's a great storyteller. So, um, there's something called the Starbucks walk, and I hope this makes it to Cheryl. Um, that he does so perfectly, and he won't be able to do it on camera, but it's really funny. Anyway, he tells a great story. The so all this to say, and then she says, well, he's he's probably going to be looking for a job because this company is kind of in the rolling. They're going to do something, right? They're the rolling layoffs and whatnot happen at the senior level. And he was with them for 20 years. She goes, I think he kind of does what you do. Would you want to go out for dinner one night this week and and see, like just meet him? I'm like, yeah, I'd love to. Then sure, absolutely, no problem. So we go out, and Paul and I hit it off immediately. And we're all in our best behavior as you are when you first meet somebody, and we're all buttoned down, and we're all, collared shirts and the whole thing. Which is this is the I'm wearing shorts underneath this, so it's definitely I'm a casual guy, and so we decide that we're gonna okay, there might actually be a fit. Let's go have a beer and we'll talk about how we're going to make this work. Cause I was at the stage where I couldn't really afford to hire somebody at the exorbitant wage. And I hope this makes it to him, the exorbitant wage that he asked for. Um, but he was just honest with me the whole way. And I went, okay, well, let's see if we can make this work. So we worked out a deal and we made it work. Now, while we're doing that at another little brewery down here, we I got a phone call and he goes, if you want to make that phone call, if you want to get that phone call, like go ahead. Don't even worry about it. And I'm like, okay, I'll just be a second. Sorry about this. And I'm like, no, good. No, I don't really need that right now, but we do need that every once in a while. And when we do, we definitely need some people to call. And I hang up the phone and Paul goes, if you don't mind me asking, who was that? Because there was more of a conversation than that. But he says, if you don't mind me asking, who was that? I said, some guy named Kevin Olasoff. And he owns Bondcom and he does this thing. He's like, get out of town. Can I borrow your phone? I'm going to call him right back. And he didn't tell me why. And because obviously there was some familiarity. I didn't know what. And he picks up the phone. He goes, man, Paul, what are you doing, man? I'm in the middle of working things out for a business deal. Like, what is going on? Why are you interrupting my thing? Well, the funny story is Kevin found me on Google, had no idea what Paul was doing. And the happenstance of this, these two have known each other together for 20 years, working at TELUS together. And now Kevin, the infrastructure part that I said at the beginning of our call, Kevin does all of our infrastructure work. Without question, he's the best I've ever seen.
Wow.
So, him and his team just do phenomenal work, combed cable. It's cable.
Oh,
It's beautiful. Like it really does. It's gorgeous. And all that from a happenstance meeting. And now we're all best of friends. We hang out together. Our families are together.
yeah.
And it really is like, it's a freaking male Cinderella story. Like it really is.
I love when that
So
stuff happens though, like time and the place, perfect moments to all have our worlds collide, you know?
you never know. Just say yes. And
Yeah.
really cool things happen.
Oh my goodness. Well, this company that you've had, like how long ago did you start Stillwater?
Stillwater started, it was beginning of COVID. So officially 2019, and been going strong. We've been growing, 30-40% year over year since then.
Wow. And
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to have just local clients. You can do this like internet wide, right? Like you could do
Pretty much, yeah. That's actually where we're stretching to right now. We're stretching to go across Canada and into the States with a lot of what we do because we can, and we know the value. Then with our partners across the other provinces, and not yet into the States, but we're going to get there. Is we're able to go, okay, well, if you need somebody on site, not a problem. We can dedicate a resource to you, and we've got resources in different provinces that we've developed through a lot of our business meetings and things like that, that we can go, hey, if you guys would be interested, we'll pay you a set fee and then whatever extra. Anytime they need you, can you just go there? It's a great arrangement. And only people we trust, of course, because it's our name on the door.
this is so neat. Well, a lot of this stuff still requires you to show up and you're like putting in the hours, but also it sounds like you're having a great time doing it. But really, why do you keep showing up and like working as hard as you work with it right now?
Yeah. I didn't know it was going to be this much of a passion. I really didn't. The customer service part of me gets to exercise that every single day. And it's our brand, it's our flavor of customer service, which is that relaxed. Um, we're not formal, we're not enterprise. Paul left tell us kind of because that corporate, we're never going to. We always say in our company, we're never going to be corporate again, and all of that's to say we're just too relational, so we don't want to lose touch with the people that we've been able to work through the growth of their company. A lot of our companies on a larger level have grown 200, 300% over the time that we dealt with them. And that's really exciting. So
Yeah.
when we get to get to be part of that, it's really cool. Like it really is. And we got to be a catalyst and be able to tell them and advise them, which is why we're not called technicians. None of our guys are called technicians. They're all called IT advisors because our clients don't have to take our advice, but it's ours to give. And it's a neat thing when you can realize that you've had a part in somebody's growth in that way.
Right? That's so neat to think and you're gonna keep growing with them, at your personality style that you've created the what do they call it? You know, like the branding of the company. Like you guys just have that versus, these big guys that are just, like you said, so corporate. I'd rather
Yeah.
do business with a small business owner like all day long, down to like the restaurants, right? Like I'm not gonna
Yeah. Yeah. We tried to find that. In fact, that's what Paul and I did when we first started meeting. We're like, okay, he developed something called team building. Now, it's not his. Lots of companies do it. But I'm like, this is a way for the company to pay for your drinks every week. That's what this is. I know what it is. But we started it anyway. On Friday afternoons, we'll go out, we'll break down the week, we'll celebrate our wins, lament our losses, find out what we're going to do for Monday. And then that's it. Right around 4 o'clock, we just go, that's it. And we've shared this with a lot of our companies, so much, a little bit too much probably, because they're like, are you guys at your second office by now? And it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday. And they're like, are you guys there? I'm like, I'm not going to say we're not here, but yeah. And the fact that we can do that, it really has solidified and I think culture might have been the word that you were looking for.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
whole
culture.
culture of really building that super cohesive team that no one can break apart. Even if we lose staff and whatnot, we've got that core, that dense core that where we really know the personality and what we want to bring to the table.
100% agree because when you hire, I think that's exactly what the word I was looking for because when you hire for culture, you can train what they don't know versus hired for exactly what they know. You can't like edit their personality to fit the company.
100%.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, this is so fun. Tell me at this point people are like, "Oh my gosh, I need to know you." Like I mean people in Canada watch my episodes and then I'm going to push all this stuff on LinkedIn to tell everybody about what it is you're up to. What's your favorite way for people to come find you?
Really, we love the in person. So we don't care if we have to take a flight if we're going to be managing a large company in Manitoba in wherever. And it's Manitoba. We've only got 6 months of the year that we want to be there. Otherwise, it's too cold or too hot, and I don't like mosquitoes. But we'll do it because we love our clients. Quite honestly, we always say like the first way is to just reach out by email, reach out on our socials, go to stillwaterit.ca, just find us any way you can. But that first meeting, if it's possible, and we will do a call like this, but we really, really want to meet you in person because we hire and we take on our clients in large part based on the culture we're going to be adopting because that now becomes part of our culture.
That's so neat. I love this so much. I only have a couple more questions left for you. Um, with all of this going on and this, like, you're into this for 7 years now, like, what's next? What's on the horizon for you?
Um, the thing that I've lost, well, I've spent. I shouldn't say I've lost it because it's not true. I've spent probably 200 or 300 hours doing something that's entirely out of our comfort zone, but doesn't conflict with anything that we love to do, and that's educate. Especially with this AI thing that's taking over the world and taking over everything we do, or enhancing it can enhance everything we do. We thought there's got to be like anything. There ought to be a couple of rules. So, uh, Paul and I were out at a conference, just a little conference, a little while ago, probably 3.5 months ago now. And there was 40 business owners in the room of various things, professional services, construction trades, another MSP company like us, um, that we're familiar with. And they were asking, the speaker was asking questions. Hey, who in this room uses AI? And every business owner puts up their hand. Everybody put up their hand. And they go, okay, who's got some acceptable use policies that their staff have to sign off on it? And more than half the hands went down. And then they go, okay, well, who has integrated this within their own internal systems to enhance their productivity and do so in a secure way and things like that? There was a few questions in there, um, and just steadily the hands went down. And it was then that I looked around, seeing no hands up. Even ours at that point weren't up.
Yeah.
And they said, or I thought to myself, there's there's a massive opportunity, not only an opportunity to find that need and fill it, which is the sort of the role of an entrepreneur, I think, but it's an obligation because advising is in our titles. We want to live that. And
Yeah.
if we could advise people, everybody, whether they're a client of ours directly as an MSP or not, they can go to the academy, which is what we ended up building. Because I went, I've got to build a platform for this. There's
Yeah.
got to be a way to advise people on the foundational, practical level, which ironically was the name. This is practical use of AI in business was the name of this meeting. And I went, this is, I know what I have to do now, and probably 200 or 300 hours on it in the last few months because I know that it's an obligation, not only an opportunity
Yeah.
to educate people as we go. So that's the next thing. We launch locally within our client base on hopefully this Friday is if all goes well, and I'm doing a test right after our call today
Yay.
of some of the last little features because the sign up and sign in process has got to be perfect. Everything else can be a work in progress to a point, and so I think we're ready to launch. And then a week, maybe 10 days after that, once we've had some real feedback and made the changes we need to, we're going to launch it to North America.
Oh, this is been amazing. Well, we're recording this like middle of 2026, probably release it same, like in July-ish. And then everybody that's like, wait a minute, you said this Friday? Yeah, that was going to be a few weeks ago by the time you guys hear this. So you're going to go follow Sean, his social media, LinkedIn, all the above, Stillwater. So that way you guys can check out this academy, the education that he's put his heart and soul and hours, a lot of hours into. And then go put yourself on his calendar. So that way you guys can have a chat with him to figure out, what makes sense for your company because there's no one size fits all, but he is. Now tell me, we're going to wrap up. What should we leave as like your final words of wisdom that we leave everybody with for this episode?
Hmm. Well, I'm going to focus on AI because it's the big shiny thing on everybody's plate these days. Just because you can do something, there's two little tidbits. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. So because you can program something with AI doesn't mean that it's going to affect your productivity in a positive way. There's lots of rabbit holes. So be careful. And then the second thing is just say yes. Just say yes to some new things. That's a really big thing because really cool things happen when you say yes. So say yes. Say it a little bit more. See what happens. It's pretty cool.
Love that. That's so good. Maybe we should have said say yes one and then like, don't say yes to everything AI. Be careful. Be guarded. Yes, yes,
Yeah, they
and
run it in the wrong order, but yeah, this is the year of yes for us. So
oh,
we're
that's so good.
we're completely coming out of our comfort zone and finding out what we want to dive into.
Yeah.
Because I can certainly, with ADHD, it's great to get lost in the mix of a lot of things. It's a wonderful vortex of new things every day, but it's got it. We got to have some productivity, or things go south quickly.
I
So
love that. I rather rabbit hole on new technology all day long because I love what technology does for us. It's gonna do things that I don't wanna do, and I wanna find the people that are passionate about coding or passionate about cold calling or passionate about this, and I'm like, I wanna be in front of people, and I want something else to do my bookkeeping, something else to organize my CRM, make sure my computer is secure and my internet works, right? Like, so you find those people to be able to kinda align yourself with, which makes so much sense, and you've got your passion set, and it makes so much sense where what you've built. And I'm excited for your journey in this to be able to share with everybody. And you've
thank you.
plugged into some amazing groups, which is how we got connected. So your groups that you've got, your networking groups in Vancouver. So even if you're like, should I reach out to Sean? Like if you want to hang out with people like him, reach out because he will hook you up with some people. Even just being able to shoulder with you with amazing places that you're going is a great fit for you guys to think, do I need to know him? Yes. Yes, you do. Absolutely. Well, thank you for your time. I'm so happy we got to spend time today and I got to share your story. It's always fun. And then now that we're friends on like multiple social media places, I'm like, oh, I get to see your posts. So anyway, I like being able to follow all my guests and see what their lives are all about.
No problem.
And then thank you for everybody who's listening, coming to the show and listening in. And go ahead and reach out to Sean, follow all his social media, and then we'll see you guys on the next episode. Go have a great day. Bye,
All
everyone.
right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks very much.